welcome to the Reflect and Protect podcast. I'm Kirsty Dixon, and every episode we'll explore how to strengthen both your mind and your body through martial arts. Today we're talking about what we really need. It's easy to get confused about what makes us happy, comfortable, or even just secure. And social media and marketing companies capitalise on this beautifully. But how can we boil it down to the things that really matter? How can we cut through the noise and identify what matters most to us? And how can we frame things in our life so that we get what we need out of it? I think I first heard about the idea of human needs when I was studying philosophy at school, so a long time ago. And it was later reintroduced to me properly by Thomas Clifford, who is an excellent martial arts school owner from the US. There are lots of different versions or adaptations or interpretations of, the idea of human needs and what they are. But today we're going to explore two key thinkers who coined their own versions of the human needs. That's Abraham Maslow and Tony Robbins. But before Maslow's pyramid or Robbins' drives, ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle coined eudaimonia. That's true flourishing through virtue and purpose. Today we'll explore how these ideas intersect and how something as practical as martial arts training can fulfill them all, turning everyday struggles into a path to the good life. Imagine martial arts as Aristotle's gym for the soul, meeting basic needs whilst unlocking your highest potential. Great, so we're going to get started on Abraham Maslow. So I'm not going to spend long on the history, but Abraham Maslow was basically an American psychologist, and he was best known for creating something called a hierarchy of needs, basically a theory of motivation. He studied psychology at the University of Wisconsin and then at Columbia University, and his work really focused on humanistic psychology, emphasising personal growth, self-actualisation and the positive aspects of behaviour, and this diverged from the Freudian focus on pathology. So let's have a little look at this pyramid. So imagine a pyramid. We've got the base level. So at the very bottom is physiological needs. So these are the most fundamental biological needs: air, water, food, sleep, basically the things that you need to survive. That's on the very bottom level. Now, Maslow suggested that you couldn't, until you'd achieved these basic needs, this pyramid, this foundational level, then you were not able to move on to the next level. So base level is physiological needs. Without those, the higher needs can't be addressed. The next one is safety needs. So once physiological needs are met, then safety needs can be considered. Safety needs are things like security, stability, order, and protection from harm. After safety needs, the next level is love and belonging, or social needs, like emotional relationships, friendships, intimacy, a sense of connection. So it doesn't have to just be romantic relationships. It also includes belonging to a family or a group or a club. After this, next level is esteem needs. And these needs are divided into two: self-esteem, so that's confidence, achievement, self-respect, and esteem or regard for others. So that includes status, recognition, prestige. Fulfilling the needs in the esteem level leads to a feeling of achievement and value. And then at the very top of the pyramid is self-actualization. So this is the pinnacle. This is where people have been able to meet their physiological needs. They've met their safety needs. They've met their love, belonging, social needs. They've met their esteem needs. And then they reach the top of self-actualization. People can reach their full potential, pursue personal growth and peak experience. And Maslow described this as becoming everything one is capable of becoming. Now, that was his original concept, his original pyramid. Later on, he added transcendence in even higher levels. So basically, that was once people have achieved self-actualization, they're able to help others achieve the same thing. They help others achieve self-actualization. And Maslow believed that people could progress through these stages with higher needs only emerging after the lower ones were satisfied. So there you go. It's a quick little snippet, but there is an introduction to Maslow's pyramid hierarchy of needs. So I said we were going to look at two different practitioners, schools of thought. So now we're going to look at our second one, and that is Tony Robbins, his concept of 6 human needs. And he developed his model as an adaptation of a theory like Maslow's. But these 6 human needs don't follow a strict hierarchy. So the needs for Tony Robbins are seen as universal motivators that everyone pursues. So there's not a level structure. It's not like you have to achieve one level before the needs become available to you. He saw that all the needs were available, but people pursue them at the same time. But the difference is in how we prioritize them based on individuality, personal experience, circumstances. And Robbins thinks that all of our actions stem from attempts to meet these needs. So these needs are, first one, certainty. Certainty, so assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. Safety, security. Certainty. And its opposite, next one, number 2, is uncertainty or variety. So that's the need for the unknown, change, new stimuli, adventure. Next one, significance. That's feeling unique or feeling of value or important or special in some way, or standing out or being needed, or being an independent thinker. That's significance. Next one is connection or love. We all know what that is, hopefully, a strong feeling of closeness or a union with someone or I guess something. So a connection. Next is growth. Growth is an expansion of capacity, capability or understanding. Developing, opening our minds, being able to explore. And finally, the 6th one is contribution. The idea of a sense of service, a focus on helping, of giving to and supporting others, so giving something back. So the 6 human needs there, Robbins' 6 human needs, are certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. So why have I been talking about the human needs today? How does that link in with martial arts at all? Well, I think martial arts training aligns with these frameworks in lots of practical ways. So if we think about Maslow's pyramid to start off with, martial arts training meets the physiological and safety needs through physical fitness and self-defense. It builds esteem or significance through achievements like belt promotions and ranks. It fosters belonging and connection in the community that we create, and especially, I know I'm biased, but especially in our Reflect martial arts community. And it promotes growth or self-actualization or eudaimonia, whatever you want to call it, through ongoing mastery, ethical development or personal development, and a sense of purpose. Now, I think that it can feel quite vague when we talk about the pyramid. I actually think that Tony Robbins' 6 human needs are a bit more actionable and practical, which is probably why it was a modern adaptation, because it makes it a little bit simpler, I think, to really hone in on the detail. So let's look at the first two, the pairs, the certainty and the variety. I think we all know that as humans, we want those two polar opposites. Not that we want to swing from one extreme to the other, but we actually want balance, right? We want to be certain of some things, but we also want to be challenged and have variety. We want to know that we're safe, but we want to also feel safe to explore within that framework. You know, this is something when we're talking about children specifically, I think it's really obvious when you're working with young children that children thrive best in a secure environment. So that's where they know the boundaries and they are aware of the structure, and there is a hierarchy. And then within that framework, they're allowed to explore and be creative. When there are no boundaries and everything is insecure, actually people feel less capable of pushing themselves and stepping out of their comfort zone. So certainty and variety. How do we provide that in martial arts? Well, first of all, when you come to one of our classes, there is a structure, as I'm sure there is in most martial arts training. There's a structure for behaviour. There's an etiquette that is expected. There's the bowing, the handshakes. There's the phrases that we use, the Korean terminology. A class in itself has a structure. There's a bow in. There's the promise or the pledge, and the principles are recited. There's a warm-up. There's a structure to how drills are run, especially partner drills, and how they begin and how they end. And then, so the class kind of has a music to it. And then at the end of the class, there's a stretch, there's a mat chat, there's a time for reflection and personal development. So I think that classes provide that security because people know what they're going to get. Now, if you turned up to class every single week and you were being taught the exact same script and the exact same techniques in the exact same way, then you lose balance. So how do we get the uncertainty or the variety in our training? Well, I mean, I'm lucky to train in Choi Kwon Do, and Choi Kwon Do has many different components that we teach. So we've got the basic techniques, we've got patterns or katas, we've got offense drill training, so basically pace training, we've got impact drills, we've got close range techniques, we've got flexibility training. So there are a whole host of different drills, and by doing different drills and working on different techniques and even working with different partners, we're able to achieve that level of variety within that structure of certainty. So that's the first one. Let's look at the next pairing. That's the pairing of connection or love and significance. So what do I think this means? Well, connection is about feeling part of something, and anybody who knows anything about our school, you know that we operate as a community. So when you put on that uniform, you put on that belt and you join our community, we're part of a family. So it's not just about turning up to class, it's a relationship. It's a relationship the instructors have with students, students have with instructors, and students have with each other as well. And within that community, we're able to support each other on a more personal level. So I think that by attending classes, you're able to get that sense of community, that sense of belonging. You know that there are people there who've got your back, but you also know, just like in a family, there are people who won't allow you to shortchange yourself. So they'll hold you accountable as well. And I think that's really important. So that's one way that we get that connection. What about significance? Well, you know, most people want to feel part of something, but they also want to feel valued. So the way people feel valued is by having something that they can bring to the table. So that might be that they are a particularly good sparring partner, or it might be that they are a really great listener to somebody when they step off the mat. It might be that their achievement. So you attain significance in martial arts by achieving new belt ranks, by helping other people, by stepping onto the instructor path and starting to take your journey to that next level. So I think in martial arts training, you get connection, through the interaction you have with fellow students and with fellow instructors, and that concept of us all working together to help, optimize our human potential. And then we also get that significance by being able to perfect techniques, to stand out in certain areas and drills, and to push ourselves to reach personal achievements and challenges like belt ranks and black belts and Dan rankings. And the final pairing is growth and contribution. So that idea of growth is essential to martial arts training. We all know that. So every class you're trying to build on what you learnt in a previous class. You're trying to grow not only physically in terms of your physical capability, but also mentally, so in terms of your personal development. And that's an ongoing process. So if you are engaging properly with your martial arts training, that growth should feel natural. That doesn't mean that growth is a linear thing. We all know that. If you've trained in anything long enough, you know that growth is more like a wiggly line, that you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down. But as long as the general trajectory is on the up, that you know you're doing the right thing. So the idea of growth, it's the drive for continuous improvement and expansion of your skills. But that links in really beautifully to the idea of contribution. If you are only focused on your own growth and your own achievement, it actually makes you quite an unpleasant person to be around. When you also prioritise contribution and the idea of what you give back to the community, maybe that's just helping a new student on their first day know where to stand, or it's helping someone tie a belt, or it's partnering someone in class who's having a difficult time off the mats and being there for them, or it's educating other people or showing them how to perform a certain technique that maybe you've got a little bit more mastery over, or even introducing somebody to the martial arts community because you know you've got so much out of it. You know, the idea of contribution is really, really valuable because it provides purpose, but it also provides legacy. It's about something bigger than you. So we just looked at Tony Robbins' 6 human needs, and we looked at them in terms of their opposites, the idea of certainty and variety, of significance and connection, of growth and contribution. And I think probably rather than thinking about them as opposites, I think it's easier to think of them in terms of a natural tension. So a natural tension between two extremes which exists in everyday life. You know, when we look at the flag, the Taegugi flag, the Korean flag that we have up at our classes and on our uniform, it links in really beautifully. So that yin-yang philosophy, so that was from Chinese Taoism, but it was adapted in Korean culture to yum-yang. You know, the idea of, you will all have seen the symbol of yin-yang. It represents balance, harmony, and here's the important bit, the interdependence of opposites. So in Korean philosophy, yum and yin, that's the equivalent of yin, and yang are complementary forces. So it's dark and light, passive and active, feminine, masculine, and they exist in dynamic equilibrium. And this kind of really resonates with the idea of these human needs, I think, that there's tension between the needs. And they mirror that yin-yang's interplay of opposites. And just as yin-yang teaches that neither force should dominate, I think Robbins advocates that balancing needs to avoid extremes is really important. For example, chasing significance would come at a cost of connection. And if you really reflect on this, you can use it as such a powerful tool to achieve this balance. And it allows individuals to assess which needs are over, or indeed which needs are under fulfilled. And I think that's a great thing to be able to do. Reflect Martial Arts isn't just another after-school club for kids or a gym alternative for adults. It's a unique path towards a more balanced, fulfilling life. What makes us different is how we bring together Tony Robbins' 6 core human needs: certainty, variety, significance, connection, growth, and contribution through the lens of the Korean Yum-yang philosophy, the balance of opposites. Take certainty. A gym routine might give you structure, but it often feels rigid and uninspired. At Reflect, our clear belt progressions and regular classes offer the reassurance of consistency, yet we balance this with variety. Every session blends strikes, patterns, partner drills, and mindfulness practices. Like yin and yang, stability and freshness complement one another, keeping training both grounded and exciting. Then the significance. Too often students in after-school clubs or adults at gyms feel just like another face in the crowd. At Reflect, everyone is seen, everybody matters. Whether you're perfecting your first kick, leading a warm-up, or supporting a partner, your progress is celebrated. That sense of value naturally deepens into connection. Training side by side, sharing challenges, and celebrating wins create bonds that go far beyond casual friendships. But growth is perhaps where Reflect shines the brightest. Hobbies can plateau, martial arts does not. It's a lifelong journey. Each class sharpening the body, the mind, the spirit. We honour both yang, the active energy of improvement, and yin. Other activities certainly have their value, but Reflect offers something complete. It's not just about keeping kids busy after school or helping adults get fit. It's about balance, like the Taeguk symbol, where opposites come together in harmony. At Reflect Martial Arts, you'll find a space to strengthen your body, grow your mind, and connect with purpose. Thank you for listening to Reflect and Protect. If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe so you don't miss out. Remember, you have the power to shape your own life. Martial arts is about more than self-defense. It's about personal growth and finding balance. I'll see you next time.